Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, Parallel Deku, back with another fanfiction. This is the 6th part of What If Deku Was Gifted Demonic Powers. Now before starting, please give this video a like, and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. So you went with Gat, Nito asked as they sat down at their lunch table. It's fitting, Izuku said. Honors Gramps and makes people think my quirk might have to do with guns and not all the other things. You realize you ended up on the news about twice in the last week. And every other first-year class has it out for you specifically. Everyone probably already knows what you do, Nito stated. But I'm unpredictable. Izuku shrugged it off. He jumped for a second. Hold up, I just got a dumbass idea. Half of his friends felt like they should worry about that. Momo was the first one to say anything, planning on diffusing whatever idea Izuku had. What? Izuku shook his head. Nope, you guys can't know until the sports festival. Then why say it out loud? Katsuki looked irritated. Because I say words while I'm thinking them. It's not anything bad. It won't make people say, oh no, what's wrong with him? It will make people look at me and say, oh god, he is an idiot. I thought people already said that, Kyoka said. Izuku laughed. This is stupider. It will only work though if the circumstances are right. Anyway, since we don't get to hear it, let's talk about something else. Katsuki spoke. Since we are on the topic of the sports festival, I want to up my training before that. I need to unlock my special whatever power and show it off as well. Got no argument. Izuku nodded. Have fun with your training. One of these days before it I want to test my mold strength against your explosions though. No problem. Katsuki agreed. Good evening, little saints. All Might entered their classroom before their foundational hero studies class. I have news. What is it? Ochako asked. All Might grinned as he pressed the button to give them all their hero suits. I personally made sure that those updates you all wanted for your suits are there, as well as young Monoma's, Ayama's and Midoriya's suits being completely repaired. Izuku jumped across the room to open his case. Finally, yes, I do enjoy you kids' camaraderie, All Might said as he noticed the purple everyone had when they opened their cases to check. Some had more than others, but it was all the same. You do not need your suits today, but if you want to just wear in the new style, by all means go ahead. Oh, I am breaking this bad boy in. Izuku grinned at his new suit. Why does it look different? Boss Toru leaned over to check the suit. After USJ, I made notes for them to look at to make better changes. Also, because of my transformations, I might need to add in more changes down the road. All Might waved to the class. I will be at Field Gamma when you kids are ready. All Might Nito caught up to his mentor, deciding not to wear his suit for the chance to speak privately to his sensei. Yes, young Monoma. All Might looked to the boy next to him as they continued towards Field Gamma. Can I tell them about it? Nito asked. He had been wanting to tell them. They knew so many secrets already, and it was only fair to reveal one for all at that point. All Might looked at Nito in surprise. Truth be told, I assumed you did tell them already. You did? Nito tilted his head. It must have been a thought, because surely one for all is not nearly as big of a deal if you consider Midoriya's power source. It is fine if you tell them. I will be there for credibility and such. If they can keep Izuku's secret as well as every other secret that follows that boy, then surely they can be trusted with this one. Nito nodded. I'll tell them after the course. Izuku loved having his hero suit back in action. The changes were simple. He added thicker padding to the purple vest, as well as adding a green undershirt of the same metallic material and removing his jacket entirely. His gloves stopped just below his elbows, and he made sure to make there be no limp hanging part of the glove over the finger he lost, removing that material and fitting his hand better now. He also covered up the holes his outfit originally had to accommodate his wings. Looking good, boss. Mina gave a thumbs up as he arrived. I always look good, Izuku boasted. It's in a saint's nature to be beautiful as hell. Katsuki, who had also opted to wear his suit which had a purple X across his where the red used to be, looked at Izuku like he was an idiot. When were you ever beautiful? Izuku put his hands on his hips. You're just jealous that I'm hot as? Momo smacked Izuku over the head. Language, Yuri is right there. Momo pointed to the girl who was holding onto Mashirao's tail. Sorry, Izuku rubbed his before he looked at Momo, who had an entirely new outfit. Momo had replaced her long boots for shorter ones that ended right above her ankle, with purple lines running through the crimson of the rest of the boots. Momo now had fingerless crimson gloves that had thick pads in the palms. Her sleeveless leotard had been replaced with a crimson shirt of fabric just like Izuku's that ended just below her ass, and shorts that were almost hidden completely by her yellow belts that she kept from her old outfit. Purple trims covered her otherwise crimson outfit. The final addition to her new hero suit was that she had created a morning star pendant to wear as a necklace. Momo definitely enjoyed the look Izuku gave her, giving him a similar one since his newer outfit definitely showed off his muscles more. Katsuki elbowed Izuku's back before walking away. Stop drooling over each other, damn. I like your necklace, Izuku said to Momo as they began to follow Katsuki to Field Gamma. I don't think you were looking at that, Momo said to mess with him. Izuku looked her in the eye. How do you want me to respond to that? You are purposely trapping me. Momo smiled. I know. Izuku gained a smirk. Sometimes I like jumping on landmines. You're hot as hell in that outfit. I would know since I have been to hell. Momo blushed. I forget you like to act like that. Well, at least I'm not saying stuff Minoru would. Izuku defended himself. Hey, Minoru shouted from his spot beside Tenya. At this point it seems wrong to act like that towards the ladies in this class. What about other classes? Denki asked. Minoru did a shaking motion with his hand, kinda stopping it a little bit. Not cold turkey, I guess. Just not trying to have my whole person be about being a pervert anymore. We need a class pervert though, Izuku said. Diversity and all that. Why don't you be the class pervert then? Minoru said. Izuku cupped his chin. I can do that. Hey Katsuki, nice ass. Katsuki turned around with a tick mark on his head. Don't bring me into this bullshit. Fine, Izuku said, and Katsuki turned back around. Noticing a giggle from Yui, Izuku leaned over towards Momo. Katsuki has a nice ass. Izuku didn't whisper. I can hear you, dumbass, Katsuki yelled. I doubt you can hear me over the sounds of them cheeks clapping. Izuku was laughing hard at his own jokes. Katsuki began to walk away faster. Momo pinched her nose. Why do you talk sometimes? Izuku looked at Momo. I don't know. All right, students, here is the course for today. All Might pointed to a map. This is Field Gamma, a labyrinth of an industrial site filled with factories. It is a difficult place to get through. Today you all do that. From one side to the other. Meshura looked at the large complex on the other side of a large wall. Wrong. You must rescue me and Little Eri. All Might patted Eri on the head. I will let you all go in 5 at a time. I will shoot a flare from wherever I am, and I want you all, without jumping above everything, to go through the labyrinth to find us, while 5 others who are not designated as the rescuers during that round can relax and wait. So it's just a race, really, Katsuki commented. Indeed. Like I said, today is more laid back. Do we get MVPs that matter for the next class? Izuku asked. Nope. Next class I still haven't planned yet since it won't be till after the sports festival. All Might started to unlock the gate for Field Gamma. Really? Hanta asked. No classes next week at all. I figured you kids and the kids in 1B would like more time to train and better prepare for the sports festival, especially since this year is rumored to be the most watched year by a margin. Why? Denki asked. Because of USJ and young Midoriya. All Might answered. Why me? Izuku asked. USJ was a huge event. You being seen on the news as a broken down lid on the verge of death made everyone not trust us at our job. Once it slipped that you are on the mend and also still attending the sports festival as a contestant, everyone has gained interest in you, especially since now it is clear you were the kid who saved Eri the other day. All Might explained. Oh, Izuku replied. Neat. So everyone is going to be watching 1A because of how we almost died. And especially the boss, since he keeps getting himself in situations. Anjiro restated it. All Might nodded. It means even more to you kids because of your plans to show the world the Saints for the first time. You know, with all the attention we are about to get, we should rename it the Saints Festival. Izuku laughed. Let's do our race now, Katsuki said. I don't like standing here. How will we pick who goes when? Ochako asked. I separated you all by your rank in the class, from 1 to 20. The first 5 will go in round 1 and so on. All Might pulled out a paper that ranked the kids. So first shall be Midoriya, Yaoyorozu, Bakugo, Todoroki, and Monoma. I always knew I was number 1. Izuku grinned. That's only because you're a nerd, Katsuki commented. Rude. It also has our heroics classes in part and everything, Izuku replied. Okay, so a nerd powered by a ring. Katsuki fixed his statement. Halo, Izuku corrected. My ass, Katsuki shot back. I mean, you are dummy thick. Izuku shrugged. Katsuki was about to say something, but Yui poked him to get him to stop. Meanwhile, Momo actually smacked Izuku over the head. Stop disrupting class. Momo scolded Izuku. Izuku rubbed his head. You use super strength for that. Yes, because you do this a lot, Momo responded. Anyways, you 5 shall be first. All Might stopped questioning the antics of this class, letting the more mature and responsible of the class get the others under control. Next is Ida, Takoyami, Asui, Kirishima, and Kodai. After that it is Mainta, Shaoji, Aoyama, Ajiro, and Siro. Final 5 is Gyro, Uraraka, Hagakure, Ashido, and Kaminari. I'm in the lowest 5. Kyoka got a downcast look. You're with good company. Denki grinned. And you? Mina laughed. How dare? Denki fake gasped. All Might began walking into the complex with Eri. There are 5 entrances. 1 person from each group will be stationed at 1 to mark their starting line. But you must wait your turn. They are labeled on the map. I trust you all to get to them quickly, and I will shoot my first flare to mark the beginning. Izuku stood at entrance C with Tenya, Aoyama, and Mina. Man, I can't wait to get going. Izuku hopped back and forth on his feet. I do agree, I want to go immediately. Tenya nodded. I have a distinct idea on how I am going to win mine. Aoyama said. Shoot lasers through your shield's layers that will make them exit by your feet and launch you there with speed, Mina asked. Aoyama nodded. It is quite like Bakugo's explosions, but I must be careful when I use them since they do still shoot out away from me. Luckily here it's just a test site. In a real situation that would be a lot more risky to use. Tenya stated, I'm just going to use my super speed and go bananas. Izuku said, I'm definitely winning this maze race. I bet you will run into something and lose. Mina said, how dare. Izuku looked at the pink girl. I doubt I will run into anything at all. Okay, I think you will though. Same with Ida. You guys might overdo your speed and not turn fast enough. Mina shrugged her shoulders. Valid point. Tenya said, I will make sure to not go too fast. I'm going speed. Izuku started to do leg stretches. I feel like you keep trading your intelligence for stupidity. Mina deadpanned. I'm thinking things through on the inside. I just like to amuse myself with my lack of common sense. Izuku didn't plan on running into anything and was already planning on not doing that. A flare appeared over a section of field gamma to the southwest of Izuku. I am off, Izuku said as he began to run, leaving wisps of his halo veins with the speed he was going. Izuku kept running in what he felt was the right direction, before deciding to make it interesting how well he could run sideways on the side of a building and began to do that, kicking off or jumping from building side to keep going. A minute later he felt that he was definitely close by when he could hear explosions, signaling that Katsuki was also near. Izuku slid to the ground and kept going as he found a straight path to the area below the flare. Hey, I found it. Nice. Izuku spoke to himself as he got closer. On your left. Momo's voice came from behind him suddenly. Izuku turned to see that she had created roller skates and was using her own speed as well as her lasers to propel herself forward. I'm not losing to a derby girl, Izuku said as he picked up his speed. Good thing I'm not one, Momo said as she fired off a large laser that sent her past Izuku. Izuku in the future would not be proud of the next moment, one that Momo would hold over him for a long time when she found out how it happened. Izuku had watched Momo as she passed him, and as a guy his eyes ended up on her rear, which he would admit looked amazing in her new hero suit. However, the lapse in his attention by staring at what he would later call a heavenly item made him crash into a poke face first. Izuku hit the pole with enough force that it broke out of the ground and flew forward in Izuku's place, actually tripping Momo. Izuku skipped across the ground like a rock on a lake before he stopped on his back against a wall. Izuku groaned as he fixed himself and stood up. Young Bakugo has made it here first, all voice came out of a speaker close to Izuku. Oh great. Izuku groaned again. He can't believe he lost like that. It did make it better that someone uninvolved won, Izuku supposed. He walked the final bit and saw he was the last of his 5. How the hell are you last? Katsuki asked. Izuku sat on the ground looking embarrassed. I do not want to talk about it. Momo gave him a surprised look. Why did you throw Bob pole at me? Izuku's face turned red. Please stop talking. I tripped. Shoto patted his shoulder. Did you run into a pole? Katsuki asked as All Might sent another flare out. I'm not talking anymore. Izuku made himself face away from everyone, except Eri, who walked beside him to sit down. Katsuki ended up laughing. You ran into a ing pole. Language, Momo scolded the explosive teen. Nito spoke next. How did you not see a pole? He thought Izuku had great vision while running. I was distracted. Izuku wouldn't be caught dead admitting brighter that he was looking at Momo's ass and ran into something because of it. That's the end of the story. Luckily no one pressed the issue and it was dropped. Tenya arriving shortly after in a blur thanks to his insane speed. Was I first? Tenya looked around. Indeed. All Might used the speakers to announce it. The other 4 showing up soon after. My bull rush is not meant to traversal. Anjiro huffed. Soon the next set started and Hanta was the first one there. Ooh, I love swinging around this place. Hanta whooped as he dropped from his final line of tape. I should come out here for more practice. I can leave it unlocked when we leave. All Might said. Nice, Hanta commented. The next set started soon and Mina was the first one to get to All Might, sliding in on a non-dangerous version of her acid. Whoa, I'm first. Mina clapped her hands. She noticed Izuku on the ground facing away from everyone. What's wrong with Midori? He ran into a pole. Said he got distracted but we don't know what it was. Shoto answered. Oof, Mina commented. Once everyone got there, All Might spoke again. Some situations will require you to be going into unfamiliar surroundings and time will be of the essence. This site can actually change the walls and layout inside, so there are numerous possible layouts to have. If you all wish, I can leave it unlocked and you can practice getting from outside of an area and to point of interest where you are needed. You never know when something bad might happen and time will not be on your side to figure it out. Like my knees in hell, Izuku commented. Are you ever going to explain how you were in hell, or are you just going to keep saying it? Masharao asked. That incident with my gramps a year ago. That portal was to hell and I got my kneecaps shot out by the guy with a crossbow thing. Izuku gave them a watered-down version of what happened. What happened to that guy? Denki asked. Gramps kinda lost it seeing me get hurt and Izuku cupped Eri's ears so she couldn't hear. Repeatedly punched the guy's head until it was mush. Damn, Katsuki said. He is cooler than your Mima. You're just afraid of Mima. Izuku pointed out. What happened with Izuku's Mimo, Yui asked, wondering how Katsuki was afraid of anyone. I'm not talking about it. Katsuki shook his head. Is she that bad? Mashiro raised an eyebrow. She was eccentric, All Might said, remembering his time knowing Kenzie. Guys, can I tell you something? Nito decided to say it now. What is it, Preppy? Katsuki asked. I kinda have a secret also that I didn't know if I could say. Another Halo Hanta asked. No, I actually have 2 quirks. I was given my second one. Nito said. Is it even possible to pass quirks? Ochako asked. I'm literally powered by the devil's halo that my great-great-great-great-grandfather used to lunch the devil in the face, Izuku pointed out. But passing a quirk seems off. Anyways, I actually got it from All Might, Nito stated. What half of the class was surprised. All Might passed on a quirk. Yes, it is actually called One for All. All Might said. It has been around since the dawn of quirks and I was the 8th holder of it. Young Monoma is the 9th. After more explaining of the quirk and its origin, everyone had begun to leave Field Gamma. So you still have it also, right? Ochako looked at All Might, who had changed to his weakened form since the kids all now knew and he could save the use for later. Yes, I still have embers of the quirk, but it all is Monoma's now. When the time comes he will pass it in and so forth. All Might nodded. Wait, Izuku clapped his hand over his forehead. Why didn't I ever think of this? All Might, I might be able to save your power. All Might raised an eyebrow. How so? Momo knew what Izuku was about to say. The medallions. Izuku put a finger to his nose and pointed his other hand to Momo. Yes, the medallions all have power and you might be able to keep all of your strength and stuff if a medallion charges it instead of One for All. All Might nodded and thought, that is an interesting theory. However, what about my respiratory system? It is severely damaged. Izuku smacked his forehead again. Again, why didn't I think of this before? My healing powers. The one you got from my ancestor, Momo asked. Yeah, Izuku said. Those powers completely regrew my kneecaps that got taken completely out of my legs. If they can heal bones from scratch, why can't they heal organs that are shriveled up and weak? All Might was wondering why he also never thought to ask the boy about this. I believe it might be possible. Izuku got more energy. Can we try it now? All Might turned back into his muscular form. Of course, young Midoriya. Izuku had ran fast after class back to the dorms to grab one of his last 2 medallions. Everyone else got to the dorms as Izuku bounded down the stairs. Don't use the superpowers inside, Momo scolded. You could end up making a joke in the wall. Mina looked at the new door they have at the front of the building. Wouldn't be the first time. Izuku placed the medallion on the table. Let me heal you first, that way the medallion will have a higher base. Izuku pointed to a seat for All Might to take. All right. All Might nodded as Izuku began to use his pink healing energy on All Might. Momo stepped on the other side of All Might. I can use mine too. Punk energy flowing from her hands as well. All Might did admit he was feeling better than he had in years. His malnourished form began to fill out slowly, as if his old muscles and organs were being at such a fast rate. Momo tired out and drained her energy long before Izuku did, his pool of energy being much larger. He didn't stop even when he was beginning to feel really tired. Izuku, don't overdo it. You know that stuff will make you insanely tired. Momo yawned. I'm going to stop eventually. After a few more minutes, Izuku stopped when his energy flow slowed down due to how exhausted he had made himself. He almost fell over, but Katsuki caught him. Dumbass, she said, don't overdo it. Katsuki said, I'm not done. Izuku spoke slowly. Katsuki sighed. You get just a little more and I'm putting you down. All Might didn't want the boy to hurt himself to heal him. If you are, I want to do more, Izuku said as he zapped himself with electricity. Katsuki dropped Izuku. Don't zap me too. Izuku jumped up, the electricity having jolted him to full attention. My bad. I can keep going. Izuku began the process again. No more zapping yourself to do it. That's not healthy, Momo said as he slumped over the table, her healing powers having made her too tired. I promise, Izuku said as he poured more healing energy into All Might. A few more minutes later and Izuku stopped entirely, leaning against the back of a couch. Okay, I can't do it anymore. I'm about to pass out. You've definitely done more than enough, young Midoriya, All Might said. Izuku let himself fall over the side of the couch and laid down on it. I'm taking a nap. Nito handed the medallion to All Might. You kinda just hold it and let it do its own thing. All Might nodded and felt a tingling feeling as the Purple Saint's medallion glowed and poured its energy into All Might. This feels incredible. That's what I said. Ijiro nodded. A moment later, All Might had fully absorbed the power of the medallion and he no longer felt the need to hold his muscular form. Testing it, however, he found that he could go to his weakened state, which was about as muscular as a normal person as it had gained mass from Izuku's energy. All Might patted the passed-out Izuku on his shoulder. Let him know he has my gratitude for this. I have to be going now. All Might left. Mina looked at the 2 passed-out teens. I don't like that look, Toru said as she looked at Mina, who had a devilish grin. Mina turned to Toru. You're helping me. With what? Ijiro raised an eyebrow. You two both wouldn't tell me they were sleeping together last time, and here they are right now, sleeping just meters apart. Katsuki walked for the stairs, taking Yuri with him. I'm leaving before I find out what dumb shit you have planned. Several of the other students decided that was wise and left. Tenya, however, had the good grace to try and stop her. What are you trying to do? I'm betting pictures of them spooning, Mina exclaimed as she went towards Momo. That way I can blackmail them into getting out of whatever weird flirting won't they crap they have and date. Mina pointed at Toru. Help me move, yeah, Momo. Mina pointed at Hanta and Ijiro. Stop Ada from interfering. Hanta played along, pulling tape from his elbows. Definitely. Ijiro looked at the three kids acting in this, one of which was his girlfriend. You guys shouldn't do that. Come on, Ig, Toru said. We could go on double dates. I'll tie him up too, Hanta offered. Ochako silently joined Mina and Toru, moving Momo by having her float through the air. Denki started to laugh. I find that this could only go wrong, so I want in. Denki poked Tenya. I'll take you if you interfere. Tenya looked at Shoto, the only other person in the area who hadn't left or joined Mina. I don't see anything, Shoto said as he ate his soba. Tenya looked defeated before an idea popped in his head. What if they wake up hoping that would scare them into not messing with the passed out leaders of the class? They both are passed out from using their powers on All Might, Mina said. It's only luck that Yamomo is also passes out not following the lecture she gave to Midori to not overdo it. I'm just taking a few pictures, storing secret copies in case they destroy the others, and laminating as many as I can and putting them all over our dorms and maybe classroom. Tenya wanted to still fight them on this. Some violation of the rules must be happening here. However, he won't admit it, but he would prefer if Izuku and Momo just got together instead of whatever thing they had at that point. Sighing, Tenya walked the other way up the stairs. I saw nothing, Tenya said as he went up. You would think more people would try to stop us, Denki said. Maybe they also want these two to just get together. Hanta shrugged. I just want to see how they react when they see the photos, Denki said. Only part I am interested in. The girls had finally placed Momo on the couch, Mina pulling out her phone and picking up Izuku's arm and dropping it over Momo, him hugging her in his sleep after they dropped his arm. Alwa, he is hugging her now, Mina said as she started taking pictures. Is it considered hugging or spooning, Toru asked. Spooning because she is facing the same way as him, Ochako answered. Katsuki came down the stairs, having gone down to get Eri some juice, and saw what they were doing. Why? Mina held up a finger to tell Katsuki to keep it quiet. You want them together as much as I do, so shush. Katsuki gave her an even look before he went back to getting Eri juice. It wasn't his problem. Ijiro watched how many times Mina kept seeing her camera. How many pictures do you need? There isn't a number high enough, Mina replied without looking away. An hour later, Aoyama approached his sleeping fellow saints with some tea. Mina and Ochako had moved Momo to another couch so the two sleeping teens wouldn't know what happened yet. You will ruin your sleep schedule if you sleep through the afternoon, Aoyama said as he nudged Momo's shoulder, waking her up first. Momo sat up slowly. I fell asleep. You might have overdid your own healing of All Might. You fell asleep a minute before Izuku. Aoyama handed her a cup of tea. Is he okay? Momo sipped her tea before she saw Izuku passed out on the other couch. Aoyama nodded. Both Monsieur Might and Izuku are all right. He assumed she was talking about Izuku but still let her know about All Might. I do find it humorous how you lectured Izuku on his overuse of his energy while doing the same yourself. Momo didn't find it funny. I was too preoccupied making sure Izuku didn't overwork himself. Is your energy still too low? Aoyama asked. I'm still tired, but I definitely won't drop and fall asleep, Momo answered. Would it be wise to tell you photos were taken? Aoyama asked Momo, and she blinked in confusion. Photos of what? Momo didn't know where the French boy was going with this. Aoyama took another drink of tea. You and Izuku were knocked out and Aoyama pointed to the wall behind them. Momo looked and saw a picture of her and Izuku spooning. Her face turned red and she looked at Aoyama. Why how? Someone thought it would be a way to get you two finally together, as well as other motives, I assume. Most have been taken down and the device has been taken and deleted of all of the copies of the scene. A few are lying around still. Can I guess the person is Pink? Momo knew if anyone it would be Mina. You would be a good guesser. Aoyama nodded. Sorry if this is a bit too personal, but why are you and Izuku not together at this point? You both obviously like each other and are aware of it. Momo didn't answer at first because she asked herself that question. Why weren't they? At the least one of them should have mentioned it to the other, but instead all they do is flirt or joke around. Are Momo scolding him for being stupid? Wouldn't it be wrong for her to get in a relationship with the leader of a group she was in? Aoyama looked at how hard Momo was thinking. Please don't get a headache because I asked that. I think I'm just waiting for Izuku to say something. With all that has been going on, do you think he would? Aoyama asked. Momo didn't answer for a second again. She really would love it if Izuku did. I hope so. Unknown to them, Izuku had woken up earlier and was just too tired to move. He heard everything and decided that he had to finally say what he was too nervous to do, and he knew when he would say it. He just had to make sure everything would go right. After dinner, Izuku knocked on a door, hoping the girl was in her room. Just a sec, the girl called out as she went to the door. Tsuyu opened her door and Izuku was glad to see that the frog girl was alone, or at least that Mina wasn't there. "Hi Midoriya. If I got to call you Tsu, call me Izuku or something," Izuku said. "Ribbit, okay. What do you need, Izuku?" Tsuyu wondered why Izuku had a nervous look. I need a favor and I kinda want to keep it quiet, especially so Mina won't be troublesome." Izuku rubbed the back of his neck. "What's wrong? Can you teach me to dance?" Izuku asked. Tsuyu looked confused. "Dance? Yes. What kind of dancing?" Tsuyu asked. The fancy kind. "Do you really think I can dance like that?" Tsuyu asked as she shook the overly large t-shirt she was using to sleep in. "Why not?" asked Yaoyorozu. Izuku looked more nervous. Because it's Tsuyu nodded. "Surprise. Yeah. So you finally are doing something about you too." "What do you mean finally?" Izuku asked. "We've all known each other for 2 weeks, and yet you two act like a married couple sometimes." Tsuyu replied. "Most 2 weeks don't have the events we all have had." "Can you teach me to dance?" Izuku repeated his question. "I do know how to somewhat. However, I want a favor in return," Tsuyu said. Izuku wondered what the frog girl would even want as a favor. "Definitely. Just let me know when you want that favor. I want it now," Tsuyu responded. "That was fast," Izuku replied. "What is it?" "I teach you to dance so you can impress Yaoyorozu. You'll help me get Todoroki to notice me." "Okay," Izuku responded immediately before the words sunk in. Wait, what? Izuku did a double take. "I said you help me get Todoroki to notice me." Tsuyu repeated what she said. "You like Shoto?" Izuku looked confused. "When did this happen?" "After the saints were made. Spending time around him made me develop feelings because I realized he is nice when he actually opens up," Tsuyu admitted. "That's How am I supposed to help you with that?" Izuku asked. "I'm not exactly the best at handling feelings. As long as you can get him to realize I am a lady that is available, that is fine," Tsuyu said. "I don't want it to be forced, but I at least want the chance to see if it goes anywhere." "Ribbit," Tsuyu explained. "I hope you realize I am kinda dumb in this sense, so expect some sort of stupid thing to happen during this," Izuku stated. "I hope that doesn't happen. But I trust you," Tsuyu said. "Now I am pressured," Izuku commented. "Aren't you pressured about learning to dance for Yaoyorozu?" Tsuyu asked. "I'm trying to play off my pressure there so I can act cool and not realize that I am a nervous wreck about this entire thing," Izuku said. "As long as I joke and distract myself, I am okay." Izuku smiled at the end with a thumbs up. "Isn't talking about it making you break that denial?" Tsuyu asked. Izuku deflated. "Yep, and now I am panicking about it." Tsuyu didn't know what proper ways of comfort work for Izuku, so she did the first thing she figured Katsuki would do. For some reason, she slapped him. Izuku looked confused for a second at the action. "Izuku, I'm sorry." Izuku rubbed his cheek. For some reason that helped." "Should we wait for tomorrow to begin your lessons?" Tsuyu asked. Actually, can we have a lesson now?" Izuku asked. "There's this thing that Momo is supposed to do on Saturday and I am going with her." Tsuyu raised an eyebrow. "You two have a date?" Izuku shook his head. "No, her mother made me kind of a bodyguard to her and Momo has to appear at a party or whatever for the investors in her parents' company." Tsuyu immediately knew Izuku's intentions. "And you want to use that party as the perfect chance to woo her?" "Not woo. Tell her my feelings and hope for the best," Izuku said. Tsuyu gave the saint a blank look. "Hope for the best?" Izuku, don't get offended, but you're an idiot. You both obviously like each other, so what bad can come of it? Self-doubt? Izuku answered, questioning himself. "I'm pretty sure that anything you do she would love it," Tsuyu said. "Either way, I want it to be perfect," Izuku said. "She's great and should have a great moment." Tsuyu smiled. "That's sweet. Okay, let's do your first lesson now." The next morning soon came and it was Friday. Izuku had woken up early and had set up his tools at the dining table to fix his gun. "Hello, Midoriya," Shoto said as he came down the stairs. "Sup?" Izuku waved his arm without looking away from the gun. He was close to done repairing it. "How is your gun?" Shoto asked as he began some tea. "Close to done. I just need to put this back together." Izuku patted a few pieces. "And charge it with my energy before I put it back in." "Will it be the same or did you make improvements?" Shoto sat down at the table. "It will be the same. I was in Saint's Demons mode when it was broken, so I have no clue of anything about how it handled itself." "Do you think you will ever purposely access that mode?" Shoto was curious about that state of hatred it had. "The mode caused fear in everyone around Izuku when it happened. If I can help it, I would prefer not to." Izuku snapped two pieces back together. "Saint's Demons is uncontrollable as far as I know. I don't want to access it and accidentally hurt someone again. After I cut Momo, I don't want to use it again." Izuku still carried guilt over the scar that seemed permanent on Momo's face. Shoto nodded. "I wonder what that gold energy does." "It's most likely an opposite of the demon's mode. They get triggered by opposite emotions." Izuku let energy flow into his arm and into the battery, charging it. "I can make more of these with Momo for all the saints." He pointed to the gun. "That would be a useful tool." Shoto nodded. Denki slid down the stairs. Hey, what's popping, guys? Fixing a gun. Izuku finished charging the battery and slipped it into the gun, locking it into place. The gun made a hissing sound. I think I did it. Izuku made some mold extend away from him and aimed the gun at it. He fired a few shots. Everything seems to be working. Izuku grinned. How long will you think it will take to make the parts for more with Yaoyorozu? Shoto asked. Izuku smacked himself over the head. Wait, I can literally just show her the schematics and blueprints, then she can create more and all I have to do is charge them. He didn't even need to fix this one, really. Oh yeah, Denki laughed. I forget Yaoyorozu could make weapons like that. Wait, why do you need more? I was gonna make more for the class. Izuku answered. Awesome, Denki got excited. I would love a gun. I'm taking away your kill shot mode though. Izuku said. You are too trigger happy. I'm not. Denki said. Wouldn't Kodai be the trigger happy one since she had your gun at USJ? I'm not trigger happy, Yui said, making it known that she had come down to the commons as well. She had my gun because that Namu was chasing me down. Izuku said. Can't blame her for shooting the shit out of the thing. Namu still ignored a majority of the attacks until you went into Saint's Demons. Yui stated. It sucks I can't remember that fight because you guys describe it as insane. Dude, you had every single person frozen to their spot when you lost it. You gave off this really bad energy that screamed that people would die if they got in your way. Denki said. What are you guys talking about? Minoru came down the stairs with Aoyama and Hanta. My transformation. Izuku answered. Actually, now that we are on that Namu, I should actually mention this. I was in purgatory right before you guys woke me up. Gramps said that. Well, let's wait for everyone to be here if you are about to drop some large news. Hanta said. Wait, what about S.H.I.E.L.D.? Izuku actually forgot for a minute that Melissa had been floating around the class all week. You know, I keep forgetting to be careful with her around. She could know very easily about this secret at this point. Yui pointed out. Yeah, we aren't really good at being discreet. Denki laughed. If she knew, I am pretty sure she would have confronted me. Izuku said. At that point, the door to the building opened and Melissa S.H.I.E.L.D. of all people entered. Hello, she said to the class. Hey, Denki did a single finger gun to Melissa. Midoriya, can we talk? Melissa asked. What's up? Izuku spun in his seat to face the blonde. I wanted to say it privately, but I guess they will ask immediately anyways. Melissa looked nervous. What is it? Izuku raised his eyebrow. I want an honest answer. Melissa said. Your powers, they aren't natural, are they? What do you mean by that? Izuku asked. Did she figure out his secret? Maybe Yui was right and he did suck at this. I first suspected it after Todoroki took that thing from the Namu and suddenly had a power like yours. Melissa said. It was similar to yours and I began to wonder if it wasn't just being in your presence that made powers upgrade but actually you giving people powers on purpose. Then I wondered if you got yours the same way. Izuku had to admit they should have thought through the fact of Shoto's power gaining in front of Melissa being something that would definitely make her question this. Izuku looked at his classmates then back at Melissa. Ew, I don't know why you would lie about it, but I assume you have your reasons for it, but at least let me know if I am right. I won't tell, Melissa pleaded. She really just wanted to know if she was right. Izuku studied Melissa's face. If you swear to not tell anyone. Izuku said. I swear. Melissa nodded. My powers come from the halo of the devil. Izuku answered as calmly as possible. Melissa looked insanely confused. Please don't joke about that. Not joking. I legitimately have Satan's halo. Izuku said. My gramps got it from a guy who bought it in hell and I got it from him. I literally have demonic powers. Melissa still looked confused. How is? I was confused too. Denki spoke up. It's really Melissa couldn't say a complete sentence. You swore to secrecy too, remember that? Izuku repeated. I'm not evil but I do have his halo. That's Melissa sat down, looking like she just stopped trying to think. We broke the hot scientist girl, Denki stated. You did what? Kyoka and Tenya both had come down the stairs at that moment. She knows now, Shoto said. It's a lot to take in. Melissa said. Does everyone else have halos? Nope, just me. Everyone else has a medallion powered by their ancestor or such. Izuku answered. Should you really be trusting her with that much? Kyoka asked. I don't think anyone would even believe me. Melissa said. I will keep this a secret. I however have another question now. Shoot, Izuku said. Would it be fine if I extended the study of your powers? I will make sure the truth isn't revealed, but something like this it would be the scientific study of a lifetime. Melissa explained. I can even help find ways to increase the potential of everyone. Izuku raised an eyebrow. He didn't expect her to want to be involved at this point. I guess if you can keep my secret as long as possible, sure. Izuku said. Does this make her a saint? Minoru asked. Either a saint or an ally. Izuku shrugged. What does a saint do? Exactly, Melissa asked. Our generation of saints kick ass. Izuku answered. Heroes with a slightly different code. We do protect the innocent still. What is the slight differences? Melissa asked. I don't really care as much about the whole quirk usage law when I have the chance to protect someone. I see help that is needed and I give it. Izuku said. That's how we got Eri. I'm surprised Eri isn't already down here with you, Aoyama said as he brought the tea over that Shoto had started to make earlier. She's sleeping with Momo right now as far as I know, Izuku said. I put her there when I woke up early so I can do this. Izuku wiggled his gun. Since S.H.I.E.L.D. knows, I guess we can talk more about our Saints' business and stuff more openly. Is there more to the Saints than I know? Melissa asked. Before I say anything, I gotta say this will be confusing and is definitely a big secret, Izuku stated. Melissa mentally prepared herself. I'm listening. After Izuku explained the timeline and Saints of old, she was quiet for a minute. Is it possible for me to join? Melissa asked. I don't have a quirk, but the Saints as you have them seem like a great team. And quirkless though, so Izuku said. And quirkless. I only have one medallion left, so let me try to learn how to make more and you got it. I can help with that, Melissa said happily. What's being helped? Momo and Eri now came to the dorms, being the last one since Momo was helping Eri get ready for the day. S.H.I.E.L.D. knows about the Saints and is joining us, Izuku answered. How did Momo got cut off? We're not really good at secret keeping apparently. Denki shrugged. You guys really aren't, Katsuki said as he and Yui brought plates of food to the tables. Glowstick would just start saying things without checking for the scientist. Katsuki made a face like something was wrong. What's the face for? Mina asked. Katsuki sneezed hard, and when he did, fire erupted around him, gone in a flash. What the hell was that? Izuku said. I don't know, Katsuki said as he looked at himself confused. I felt like I had to sneeze and then felt my energy did that. Your special ability, Yui guessed. Fire, Denki said. That's not really special with the boss and Todoroki having fire. Katsuki sneezed again and electricity erupted around him. Don't take electricity just because I said that. Denki reacted to the sneeze. Stop sneezing, Hanta said as he rubbed his arm where he got shocked slightly. Katsuki took a step away from everyone. I'm not trying to. Katsuki sneezed again and a blast of ice-cold air was sent around him. Izuku thought it was odd but suddenly had a realization. Should I know what your ability is? Katsuki sneezed again and fire erupted from him in a flash and was gone again. What is it? That buff ability my Gramps said the former boss had in that simulation. You can surround yourself with that energy probably, Izuku explained. Katsuki nodded. Let me try that. He was glad he didn't feel like sneezing again. He tried to make the energy do what it just was and a cloak of fire surrounded him. I feel hot but it doesn't burn me too bad. Katsuki tried to hold it as long as he can but it ended after 10 seconds. Looks like I have a limit on how long I can hold it. Let's not test that anymore in the comments, Kyoka said. Do you all have random new abilities? Melissa asked. Not everyone, Tenya asked. Which sucks, Denki said. I'd like a special ability where I can fly or shoot lasers from my eyes. My special ability is momentary steroids, Ajiro pointed out. You can one-shot people, Denki said. You have super strength, Minoru pointed out. When the whole class has super strength it kind of just makes it strength, Denki argued. Our quirks are still affected by the powers, Suyu added. Minda had stronger ass. Shaoji has better sensing and can make more limps at a time. Aoyama can use the power to charge his shots. Valid point, I guess, Denki replied. Hey guys, since we are all here I actually have something to talk about and it is serious, Izuku said. Everyone got quiet and looked at him. The Namu, it had a medallion like ours. Someone else has access to the same kind of powers as us. When I was in Purgatory, Gramps said that this, along with the fact that my glasses were actually broken, means and that the Namu flipped at hearing me call myself a saint means we have enemy, either demonic or from the old timeline. Who hates the saints the most? Mashiro asked. We can start there and work downwards. Izuku paused for a second to think. Seeing as how some of you guys come from the other gangs, that takes them off of the list. It could be any of the others really. Deckers I doubt because Miller joined the Saints and so did Vice King's leader King. If I had to guess off of my head on who hates the former Saints the most, it could be Stag. Anyone from there really, since everyone in Stag hated the Saints bad. Which was Stag again? Minoru asked. High-tech military-like group made to get rid of the Saints and other gangs that were in Steelport, Izuku answered. It wouldn't be surprising to me. We have to watch out then, Yui said. The sports festival is also dangerous then, Momo stated. They will see the Saints there and have our location. PSSH boss killed the Namu and it's clearly this league of villains that have connections to the old timeline, Denki said. We're supposed to be saints anyways, Katsuki pointed out, loud and proud. It would be okay to just hide some of our abilities at most then, Shoto said. That way if whoever is with the League of Villains is watching they won't know everything to expect. No special abilities, Momo stated. As much as I know everyone wants to show off everything the Saints can do, we can't show every trucking our bags if we know someone is against us and watching. They will know our moves and we would have to fight blindly. But Denki tried to argue. No, she is right. Izuku cut him off. You guys still have moves that are unknown. You can use the base abilities of strength and speed and it will look like you just work out more. If you have unique tricks from the powers, it actually wouldn't be wise to show them as much as we want to. So will you also keep tricks hidden? Katsuki asked. Pretty much every trick in my library is known to some extent. Some aren't as well known as others, so I will stick with my basic stuff like my green blast and such. I won't use more if I can help it. Izuku kind of was disappointed that he couldn't be the major showboat he had planned on being. We're still saints and we'll steal the show. Damn right. Katsuki nodded. If they are watching the sports festival like we think, they might make note of everyone who is a saint if they have such hate for us. Nito pointed out. Were the saints that big in the other timeline? Melissa asked. The boss before me got elected president of the United States, Izuku said. After becoming the ruling gang of one city and doing a takeover of another city and fighting and defeating a high-tech military group, we'll be bigger, Katsuki stated. By conquering Russia. Izuku nodded. Are you on that joke again? Momo asked with a sigh. Joke? Izuku gave the creation user an odd look. I think that falls under unheroic acts. Mezu said. It'll be a fun bonding trip if we ever actually did it, Izuku said. Sadly, we aren't invaders. If the Namu had its own unique blast, should we assume that the villains have more unique powers or just that one? Tsuyu asked. What's a Namu? Eri asked. Big Bird's evil jacked up cousin. Izuku answered. It doesn't like us, but it's gone now. If they made that one to kill All Might, can't we also assume that more can be made? Yui asked. They probably thought that the one Namu could defeat All Might, but since you killed it, they might make more. Yeah, Ijiro nodded. If they see a random kid defeat it, they would think it was too weak and make more stronger ones. But they also have to know by now that we are saints and they don't like the saints. We don't even know how complicated it was to make that one. Nito said. It could be complex and take years. Or easy now that they know how to do it. Izuku tapped the table. If they did it before, there is a chance they could make another Namu. That thing could only be killed by you when you were in a transformation triggered by you losing your shit, Katsuki pointed out. We can't wait until you snap a fight to kill anymore. I need to get better control of my demonic mode then. Izuku replied. I have to be able to access it on command and I need to learn how to gain control. Are you planning on doing that before or after the sports festival? Ijiro asked. After, Izuku said. Until the sports festival I want to work on my other stuff, like learning how to make more of these medallions. Plus I need to find a way to get mad without getting too mad so I can learn how it is properly triggered and learn to copy that trigger into something I can control myself. Class begins soon, Toru said. So you all better eat, Katsuki said as he grabbed some eggs. Don't waste our cooking. You're a great den mother, Denki said, and immediately got nailed on his forehead with the blind end of a fork from Katsuki. You, Katsuki said as he got a new fork. You guys really can't stop swearing around. Eri Tsuyu gave Katsuki a look, as well as Izuku. I don't even think she is listening anymore, Izuku said as he indicated to Eri, who was holding Izuku's phone he had given her to play with. Doesn't matter. Momo gave Izuku the same irritated look Tsuyu had. She is a small child and doesn't need to hear that language. I have gotten a little better at not swearing, Izuku said. Get a lot better, Momo responded. You should hear what Denki said in front of her. Izuku did not plan on saying it. Wait, no, Denki panicked. That was a slip. A stupid slip, Mina said flatly. Izuku turned to Melissa. If you are extending your stay, does that mean the tech stays also? Melissa nodded. It would stay with me. Excellent. Is it possible to use that stuff to see exactly how the medallion works so I can learn to replicate it? Izuku asked. Melissa nodded again. I don't see why not. Alright, let's look into that after class later. Izuku grinned. On the way to class, Momo stopped Izuku, letting the class go on ahead of them. What's up? Izuku asked. You remember that my mom wants you to escort me back to their estate tomorrow, right? Momo asked. She was hoping that the event would be a chance for Izuku to just say the obvious on what was going on in between them. I remember, Izuku answered. What time do we go tomorrow? My mother said she would like if we arrive tomorrow at noon so she can spend some time with me beforehand. Momo answered. She also said to make sure you have a tuxedo because she doesn't want a hoodlum at the event. I mean, she already called me one, so no matter what at this point there will be one. Izuku said. At least get something nice. I can help pay for it, she offered. No, Izuku patted the pocket that had his wallet. Remember, I got inheritance from Gat. How much did you get exactly? Momo asked in curiosity. A lot, Izuku answered vaguely. I can honestly be a bum the rest of my life, and so can any of my kids. And their kids maybe. That is a lot. Momo nodded. Well, let's get to class, I guess, Izuku said as they began to walk again. Classes that day were uneventful compared to the last few days. No hero course training, no major announcements from Aizawa. The other classes from general studies still have them dirty looks in the halls and at lunch, but it was nothing that bothered them. Melissa had been told of the fact that Aizawa, Nezu, and All Might, all three, also knew Izuku's secret and the truth of the saints, and they were told of her now knowing. Nezu had allowed the idea of Melissa prolonging her stay since she said she wanted to help everyone understand how the powers all work. All Might had confirmed he no longer has to release his muscular form to those of the saints that actually knew of his secret, saying he might not ever have to leave it. The staff at UA, who were also aware of the truth of All Might's illness, were told that he had made a remarkable recovery, but weren't told of how it happened exactly. The class had just returned to the dorms, and Izuku spoke privately to Tsuyu. Can we still do that lesson today? Izuku asked. I really don't want to mess this up. The frog girl nodded. Yep, I am free this evening to teach you. Excellent. I am going to talk with Melissa for a bit to take the first steps in making a new medallion, then I would like to learn. Izuku spoke as he began to go find the blonde scientist in training. Finding her in the commons with some of the others, he cut right to the chase. Wanna go check on the medallion now, Shield? Izuku asked as he got her attention. Melissa nodded as she got up. Yep, I'm excited now that I know what it really is. I'm going to go get it and be at your room in a minute, Izuku said as he went for the stairs. Katsuki focused the energy and tried to make two different elements surround him at the same time. Fire flashed across his body, and as a spark of electricity crossed his shoulder, began to pour from his nose, and the fire burned like it would normally burn someone. Aw shit, Katsuki cursed as Shoto made a layer of ice around Katsuki to get rid of the fire. I don't think you can do two at a time, Shoto said calmly. I figured, Katsuki cursed as he tried to heat back up. Your power probably only backs up your resistance to whatever element is currently being used, Yui said, not liking that Katsuki had pink spots from the fire. And I have a cooldown of 20 seconds every time I use anything, Katsuki added, rubbing his hands. I am sure that with practice it will get better, Yui said, trying to not have Katsuki get a sour mood. Katsuki nodded. Just like your bubble, which is what we should work on. Yui shook her head. No, you just gained your ability, so we should focus on that. Katsuki held a straight face. Princess, you're nice and all, but you won't win this. Your ability is more of a priority since it has more application group-wise than mine. If a group event happens at the sports festival, your shield will be more help than me making myself a candle. Yui made it look like she wanted to argue. To Shoto this was a little bizarre. Katsuki had asked him to accompany the two while he tested his ability in case something bad happened. He hasn't seen much emotion before from Yui except situations where Katsuki were involved, and Katsuki always out her first even if he wasn't aware of it. Had something happened since USJ between the two, it wasn't his business really, but it was still something that made him think. Fine, Yui said after she and Katsuki stared at each other for a few seconds, each trying to get the other to agree with them. But later we have to work on yours. After your ability and some more practice of your form first, Katsuki stated. Before Yui could say anything, Katsuki looked at Shoto. Popsicle, you're good to go, I guess. Are you sure you don't want me to stay in case you set yourself on fire again? The ice and fire teen asked. Yeah, I doubt I will set myself in fire again. I'm not going to try to have two active at the same time again, at least for a while, Katsuki responded. Okay, Shoto nodded and began to leave for the dorms. Alright, let's work on your bubble, princess, Katsuki said as he turned to face the quiet girl. Yui nodded and had the cloaks around her. So what does this mean? Izuku asked as he looked at the screen in front of him and Melissa. The energy seems to have a core in the middle of it that has energy that is potent. Melissa was jotting down notes. I figured a core was in there or something, Izuku said as he was thinking. So what makes up this core exactly? My Gramps said he made these but expects me to make more on my own. This is the last one, not in someone. The energy is really strong, Melissa started as she looked at the machine again. Nezu had allowed a lot of lab equipment to be brought in for Melissa when she was first left to watch Izuku's powers the week before. Her room looking like her very own lab with only a small bed to let anyone know she slept here. With the equipment I have here, I can't go as in depth as needed with the medallion. That sucks, Izuku said. Wait, what about this bad boy? He took off his necklace. Gramps made this as something that has its own energy like the medallions. The necklace, Melissa asked in surprise as she held it. It has energy like the medallions. Yep, Izuku nodded. After a minute with the necklace being looked at, Melissa turned to Izuku. No, they don't. What do you mean no? Izuku was pretty sure Gat did make them with energy. It has energy, but it is not close to the medallion. It if anything seems opposite, Melissa explained. Not necessarily opposite, but like it only has half of what makes the energy in the medallion. How is that? Oh, Izuku remembered that Gat didn't actually make the sunglasses or necklace. He asked God to have them made for Izuku. But Melissa wondered what Izuku was remembering. The medallions are a middle energy. Izuku realized what happened. The necklace and my sunglasses were a gift from my Gramps, but he asked God for them to be made. They have what I guess we can call angelic energy, while the medallions have angelic and demonic energy. Melissa nodded in understanding. The two energies must be put together in such a way that they make a continuous stream, and that's way they can recharge. We just need a way to mix the two energies. Izuku stopped thought for a second. Everyone already has the mixture, so shouldn't that work? Just have someone pour in the good stuff to a new medallion? Izuku asked. It's possible. If we have an object we want to test that on and someone willing to test it with, we can see. Melissa nodded. Izuku turned on his phone. Someone will be here in a sec. I'm asking for a plain user though in case special powers mess with things. Hanta walked into the room holding the coin he was asked to bring. I'm here, boss. Excellent. Izuku jumped off of the desk he was sitting on. Okay, so just as we have a guest to test on the energy, and it involves having someone with the basic stuff try to pour energy into whatever is the next new item, which for us is the quarter you brought. Hanta nodded. Gotcha, boss. So do you want me to put the coin in one of these machines? Melissa nodded and patted the one next to her. This way I can watch it on the screen and see if the energy goes in correctly and record the process for future medallions. Hanta nodded as he went to out the coin in its spot. You fell into the spot of the Saint Scientist girl really quick. Melissa blushed. It's all odd to me and I am surprised how well I am actually doing with this all. I was confused at first also, but the boss is a cool dude, so I am going with it. Hanta said. Yeah, I'm cool, Izuku remarked. Okay, so I just try to put my energy in it, Hanta asked to make sure as he left a single finger on the coin. MMHMM. Melissa nodded as she turned in her seat to look at her screen. Alright, here goes. Hanta pulled on his energy and flowed it to the coin. Everything was going smoothly for a few seconds before the coin started sparking and released a blast that sent all three kids to the ground and turned off the power to the room. What just happened? Izuku groaned as he picked his head up. Melissa got up and moved to her computer. The power went out, so I don't know if the process's recording was kept. Well shit, did we turn off the whole building? Izuku asked as he went to the door. Hanta, are you cool? I'm fine, boss. Hanta poked his finger that was in the coin earlier. I feel like I got shocked, but I'm good. Izuku nodded and stepped into the hall, seeing that the lights were all out. I think we turned off the power. Why did it do that? Hanta asked. I won't have answers until the power is on. Right now all I have is a guess that it didn't flow right and the two energies must have reacted negatively to each other. Melissa guessed as she found her notepad using her phone's light and started writing. Two energies? Hanta asked. Demonic and angelic. Izuku said. It's been theorized that the medallions have a perfect mixture that keeps it from never reaching zero and such. Fumikage walked around the corner, seen by his yellow eye. What happened? We all heard a boom and then the power went out. So the power is completely out, Izuku sighed. Man, we are gonna get yelled at. What did you do? Fumikage asked. We tried a test to make more medallions. Hanta answered. The power suddenly furred back on, blinding Izuku and Fumikage on their demonic eyes slightly. Well, the power is back, Izuku commented. I shall tell everyone what happened. Fumikage turned around to go back to the commons. Let's see if we can find out what happened, Izuku said to Hanta as they went back to Melissa's room and lab. Melissa was typing on her computer to check the files. What's the word? Izuku asked. I still have the recording, thankfully, right up until the coin had a backlash, Melissa answered. It seems like the two energies split away once they entered the coin and did react negatively to each other. Once the energy left zero, it's like they wanted to not be together. Izuku cupped his chin. It is angelic and demonic energy. Maybe it's like magnets somewhat, where they can't be just expected to get along. But your grandpa did it for multiple medallions, as did some other people, Hanta pointed out. Izuku made a face like he was deep in thought. After a few seconds he spoke. Maybe, and this is a complete theory, but what if the two energia aren't just one like we were guessing when they are in the medallions and the people? They are flowed together to work as one, and we have to have someone work both sides into flowing together. Melissa thought about the theory. That might work. However, in that case we would need someone with a pure demonic energy and someone with a pure angelic energy. Everyone has mixtures. Well shit, Izuku said. You don't. Hanta looked at his leader. Izuku raised an eyebrow at Hanta. Dude, think about it. Hanta said. Satan's halo started off as an angelic energy, and when he became the devil, all evil and stuff is when it became evil. You have that demonic form from the black stuff in your veins, and we all guess an angelic mode possibly from the gold stuff. Both seem completely opposite and not mixed together. You can be one of the halves. I can only be demonic right now, Izuku pointed out. I haven't accessed the gold form yet. I also can't control the demonic stuff yet, so that means we will have to wait until you gain more control, Melissa said. Which is lame. Izuku sighed. He really wanted to have more medallions, but now he had to wait. He grabbed the last medallion. Shield, you have everything you could with this thing, right? Melissa nodded. I have scanned it and a few other things, yes. I got everything I think I could have. Izuku nodded, before putting the medallion in front of Melissa, letting her have the chance to take it. You earned it. Melissa looked surprised but took the medallion regardless. A few seconds later the medallion glowed purple and poured itself into Melissa like the previous medallions had done for the other saints. It finished and Melissa felt like she had way more energy than before she had it. Welcome to the saints. Izuku smiled. Melissa smiled back. Thanks for letting me have the opportunity. You can probably ask Nezu if you can stay here with us for a lot longer as a sort of support student. The department would probably love you, Izuku offered. They actually do, Melissa admitted. Excellent. We need a scientist to actually increase our intelligence. Izuku laughed. If I am now your guys' gear person, I do already have some ideas for some of you, Melissa said as she got up and opened a drawer filled with schematics. Wow, that's a lot, Hanta remarked. Melissa gained a flustered look. I don't have a quirk, so I decided not be a help by being a scientist and gear maker. I made these as way to pass time. Izuku picked one up and saw it was from Minoru, a gun to help him get his ass around. These are cool. Melissa blushed. Is this me? Hanta asked as he held one. Gauntlets. They would shoot your tape quicker and cut them off so you don't have to waste time yourself cutting the tape. Melissa explained. Awesome. Hanta grinned. I like it already. Melissa blushed. Thanks. Izuku checked the time. Hey, I gotta go do something. This was a good afternoon of progress. And we should definitely continue this when I get more control. He left the room. See you, Midoriya. Melissa waved. Bye, boss. Hanta waved as well. He turned back to the blonde scientist. So how can I get this soon? Later, after Izuku had another dance lesson with Tsuyu, he was in the commons with Nito and Ijiro when he remembered something. Izuku smacked his head. What's wrong? The bandaged redhead asked. I need a tux. Izuku sighed. She told me this morning and I haven't gotten one. Who? Nito asked. Yaoyorozu. You guys finally are a thing? Ijiro asked. No, Izuku responded. Her mom said that she wants her daughter to have an escort back to their estate for this thing involving their company. And Momo told me that her mom said I gotta be in a tux. She doesn't want a hoodlum there. We have like an hour before curfew, man. Ijiro looked at the clock on the wall. Well, I gotta rush then. Izuku stood up. Nito, you own really nice clothing. Where do I go for a nice tux? Nito started typing on his phone. You are going to run it, aren't you? Izuku started to do leg stretches. Hell yeah, I am gonna run it. I take it you are texting me the address. Yes. Nito nodded as he sent the message. Good luck. We believe in you. Ijiro gave a thumbs up. Thanks, Izuku shouted as he ran out of the door at a fast speed. A tired Katsuki and a completely exhausted Yui walked into the commons. Why did Glowstick just run out of here really fast? Katsuki asked as he went to the kitchen. Getting himself a tux, Nito answered. For what? Katsuki asked as he came back with 2 bottles of water, handing one to Yui who had sat on the couch. He's going with Yaoyorozu to her estate this weekend for a thing. Tix was needed and he forgot to get one till now. Nito explained. So does this mean they are finally done acting like they aren't already dating? Katsuki asked. Hopefully, Ijiro said. It feels annoying at this point and Toru really wants another couple to go on double dates with. Nito looked at Ijiro like he was offended. Me and Kaio are dating. That is a valid point, Ijiro said. Hey, when do your bandages come off? Katsuki asked Ijiro. Ijiro put a hand to his bandaged face. I was actually told that starting tomorrow I can have them off completely. Why not now? Katsuki asked. Unless you need a final checkup. Final checkup with recovery girl and then they come off. Toru has been saying she wants it to be a big reveal for the class since my injuries have taken almost the longest to heal. Ijiro then looked at Nito. Except for I still have another few days. Nito sighed. Honestly can't wait to stop wearing these baggy clothes and go back to my normal clothing. USJ definitely left a mark on the Saints, didn't it? Ijiro chuckled. I'm a burn victim. You were almost shark bait. Takoyami has a demon eye now. Aoyama has that scar on his collarbone. Yaoyorozu has her own also. Don't forget the boss having lost a finger, his wings, and his normal left eye. Katsuki added. He also got stabbed in the... Nito pointed out. Dude took a beating. Ijiro commented. At that moment, Ochako and Denki came downstairs. Hey, Denki greeted everyone. What's up? Just chatting. Katsuki yawned from his spot on the couch by Yui, who was close to falling asleep. Nice. Where is boss man? Denki asked. He's out, Ijiro answered. He'll be back before curfew though. Duri wanted him, Ochako said. She hasn't seen him since classes let out. I'll let him know she wants him. Nito got on his phone to let Izuku know. Hey, since Shield joined the Saints and is staying here longer, do you think it would be wise to try to get a date with her? Denki asked. Ochako raised an eyebrow. Really? Dude, let her get settled before you do anything, Ijiro said. So I should wait? Denki nodded. Alrighty. Hanta slid down the stairs. Guys, I think Shield is awesome. Denki looked threatened for a second. How? Dude, she has gear schematics for some of us, Hanta said. After that test that we ended up shutting off the power, I hung out with her. Girl's a genius. Do you have a crush? Katsuki asked, not wanting any conflict between Hanta and Denki. Hanta looked confused. No, she's just cool. Plus I already caught those things called feelings for someone else. Oh, Ijiro raised an eyebrow. Go on. Hanta looked at everyone in the area. Is Mina around? I felt like even mentioning feelings enough summons her like Beetlejuice. Let's test it, Katsuki said. With what? Hanta said. Katsuki replied with a shout. I think I have romantic feelings for someone. A thump was heard upstairs and then what sounded like heavy and fast steps. Mina flew down the stairs. What? The pink girl had a shocked and intense look aimed at the explosive teen. Yui was also now paying attention as well. Hey, it is like Beetlejuice. Hanta laughed. Mina started shaking Katsuki. Katsuki got Mina to let go of him. I don't. We were just testing your Beetlejuiceness. Mina had an intense look at the tired blonde. She studied him for signs of deceit. I'm watching you, Bakugo. Mess with me and I will tell your crush you like him, Katsuki said. Mina looked surprised. What, how do you? I saw a look you gave him when you thought no one was looking, Katsuki said. Mina wanted to say it was funny that Katsuki noticed her crush she had hidden well but can't notice the girl who was almost always around him had a crush on him. She didn't say it, but she would be a liar if it didn't almost slip. Hanta has a crush though, Ochako added. Mina looked at the tape saint. Go on, I can handle it myself, Hanta said. Get yourself a man before you get involved in what others are doing. I can get myself a man, Mina boasted. So tell the guy you like him. Katsuki yawned and leaned back into the couch. It is well hidden so it'll be a curve to him, but tell the guy. How about you get yourself a girl, Mina said. Don't give relationship advice if you aren't in one. You can't either then, Ajiro pointed out. Only me, Monoma, Toru and Gyro can at this point. And soon Glowstick and Spiky Hair, Katsuki added. Mina looked at him confused. Wait, what, are they going on a date finally? Not a date, Nito said, but pretty much. They'll definitely get together finally. Ajiro nodded. Mina's eyes gleamed. I have work to do. She ran up the stairs. We might have done something bad just now, Hanta said as he sat down. It was funny to see Katsuki lie and make Mina flip though. Ochako grinned. Yeah, that was funny. Ajiro nodded. Katsuki looked at Yui, who had went back to falling asleep. He felt like he wasn't actually lying when he said that anymore. Momo had jumped from her spot brushing Yuri's hair when a loud banging happened at her door. Yeah, Momo, Mina's voice shouted. Open up, it's an emergency. Momo got confused as she rushed to the door and yanked it open to see what the problem was, just to see Mina with a few bags of what looked like makeup and some of her dresses. How is this an emergency? This is an emergency of love, Mina said as she entered the room. You have a date tomorrow. Momo got more confused. I don't have a date tomorrow. Yes, you do. Mina disagreed. With Midori. You mean my return to my estate this weekend? Momo asked. Yes, Mina yelled. It is a date. It is not a date. Momo's face was turning red. What is a date? Eri asked. Something two people who really like each other go on to get closer, Mina said. It's what Midori and Momo have tomorrow. It is not a date. Momo sighed. Mother doesn't want mine to be unguarded after USJ and had made Izuku an escort for tomorrow. Mina made a face. I don't believe it is just that. She knows about that connection you both have. She wouldn't purposely do that with those intentions, Momo stated. She might not, but wouldn't you like it if this was supposed to be something? Mina asked. You can't say that. Not even a tiny bit of you would like this to be something more for you and Midori. Momo pursed her lips. She didn't want to let Mina be right, but the pink girl was definitely right. What are you even planning? Girl, you have to look perfect for this, Mina exclaimed. She began to pull out things from the bag. I am putting this all here and we are going to make sure you look so good that Midori becomes a drooling idiot. Mina, it's not till tomorrow. Momo tried to stop the girl before she attacked Momo with blush. I know, Mina replied. I am just trying to get mentally prepared for the biggest matchmaking test of my life. That's a bit dramatic. Momo tried to put some stuff back in the bag, getting her hand swatted by Mina. It was really overdramatic since it was obvious that Izuku liked Momo and vice versa. I might be, but it's you guys. The two that went feral on the villains when they thought the other was dead at USJ. You two are definitely something to be overdramatic about. You almost died, Eri asked Momo. I got hurt. Momo nodded. However, Izuku was there to protect me. Eri nodded. Izu is good at that. He is. Momo agreed. Away from the living on Midori moment and back to this, Mina snapped her fingers to get Momo's attention back. We are going over everything you can wear tomorrow and how you can have your hair and everything. Momo tried to think of a way out of this and sighed when she couldn't. Then she remembered Eri. I am watching Eri right now. Mina had a smug look, like she knew that Momo would pull the Eri card. Nice try, but I have someone on standby for this very thing. She opened the door to the room and yelled down the hall to the other girl on the 5th floor. Hey Gyro. Kyoka sighed as she unplugged her earphones and walked to Momo's room. Sorry Momo, I am kinda on her side. On what? Momo asked. You and Midori are too dumb to just tell each other anything, so I agreed to watch Eri while Ashido does her whole thing. Kyoka explained. Yep, Mina nodded. So you are trapped. Did you think to ask Eri if she would even be alright with this? Momo asked. Wanna learn how to play the drums? Mina asked Eri. What are drums? Eri asked. I can show you. Kyoka offered a hand to Eri to guide her. Eri looked at Momo in conflict. This is helping Midori in the long run. Mina tried to convince Eri. Eri looked at Momo again. Momo decided to just go along with what Mina was saying because Mina did have a point a little bit. Eri, it's fine. Kyoka is really fun. Eri nodded and grabbed some of Kyoka's fingers as she followed her. Mina had a smile as she turned to Momo. Let's start with dresses. It's 1 minute till UA. Gates close. Nito commented as he grabbed a card from the deck. He'll make it, Ijiro said. He has super speed. Wanna bet on it? Hanta asked as he checked his cards. We're not allowed to gamble, remember, Ochako said. +4 Nito. Nito sighed as he grabbed 4 more cards. A gambling tile was made directly for the boss though. Denki took his turn to use a red skip card on Ijiro. Skip. The rule applies to everyone, Katsuki said from another table where he was tinkering with one of his gauntlets. You know, if one of us is allowed to gamble and Glowstick finds out, he will start gambling himself. Does he have a bad gambling problem? Ijiro asked. Nito nodded. He picked it up after a month from Gat. His Mimo, however, made a goal to not have him be as into it as he normally was. Yaorazu is just keeping that going. It wasn't bad, but it was definitely a problem. He is kinda lucky he got that problem after he found out he had like infinite money from Gat, Katsuki said. Infinite money? Ochako raised an eyebrow. He mentioned it the other day. Hanta said. He has this wallet from his gramps that has all of the wages he made in hell, and apparently he made a lot. How much? Denki was curious on how loaded Izuku was. Izuku doesn't know, Nito answered. Just said that he doesn't have to get a job in life if he didn't want to. A crash happened outside the door and everyone stared at it for a second before it was opened by Izuku, who was breathing heavily and had a bag. I made it, Izuku cheered for himself. Nice. Ijiro grinned. So did you get yourself a good one? Of course I did, Izuku said. It's nice and purple. Naturally. Ochako dropped another +4 on Nito, who looked annoyed at the action. So you ran the entire way? Nito asked his close friend. I actually hoped to cross building tops for a bit. Izuku crashed on a couch. I'ma chill here for a sec. Some people left for home over the weekend. Katsuki spoke up. Froggy, glasses, arms, Frenchie and tail. That's cool. Izuku waved the information off. Did they say when they might be back? Nope. They said before Monday, but that's it. Katsuki grunted as he pushed two parts of his gauntlet back together only for them to break. Damn it, hey, the scientist is interested in gear and shit, right? Yep, she's pretty good, Hanta stated. I'm going to ask her about this shit then tomorrow. Katsuki grumbled as he dropped the screwdriver he had. What were you trying to do? Izuku sat back up. I wanted to see if I can make this thing smaller. My new ability makes me a little faster during it, and I would like a new higher base speed now that I can get faster. Katsuki explained. Are we resistant to your ability? Izuku asked. I don't think that you are, Katsuki answered. Well, the former boss and his homies were resistant to his buff, Izuku said. Yes, but that was in a simulation, Nito pointed out. It's still possible, Izuku answered. Like it could feel our energy signatures from the other medallions in my halo and not harm us. That sounds kind of stupid. Well, Julius made the ability for that medallion, so he might have put that in so it wouldn't be an issue. Izuku shrugged. Try it with me. He stood up. Katsuki got up also. It's your fault if you get set on fire. I'm already hot. Fire won't do nothing. Izuku grinned. Katsuki activated his buff ability and fire surrounded him in a cloak. He walked up to Izuku and put his hand on Izuku's shoulder. Izuku stared at the hand. Feels warm but nah, doesn't burn. Suddenly the fire also surrounded Izuku in his own cloak. Whoa, Izuku waved his arms to see that the fire was an actual cloak like Katsuki's. Maybe you have the extra ability of passing your cloak on to others if you want. Ochako mused. Katsuki tested it by trying to pass the fire to Denki, who gained his own cloak. Wow, this is so cool, Denki said. Katsuki's timer ran out on his ability and his cloak dissipated, and so did Izuku's and Denki's. Oh man, I like that. Denki missed his cloak. Okay, so my buff is able to give other people buffs and they lose theirs when my timer is done. Katsuki noted. Hey dude, that means with your lightning element, if you learn how to shoot it and have others do that, you could make a big circuit. Izuku pointed out. That would be neat to see at the sports festival if we weren't already planning on being low-key with some of our cooler tricks. It would be cool. Katsuki nodded. Well, I'm going to check on Eri and then call the night. Izuku made for the stairs. See you guys. Izuku knocked on Momo's door to have Mina for some odd reason opened it, but only a crack to look at him. Busy Midori. Go away, Mina said. I'm just in checking on Eri, Izuku said. She is with Gyro down the hall. Mina closed the door. Izuku blinked at the interaction he just had with Mina. Why was the pink girl even in Momo's room? Izuku shrugged it off and went to check on the girl who had become like a daughter to him. Going and knocking on the door, he waited for a second before Kyoka opened it. Hey Izuku, Kyoka said. Izuri shouted as she rushed past Kyoka and latched onto Izuku. Hey Eri, the saint smiled. He looked back up at Kyoka. So what is up with Mina? I went to Momo's room looking for this one and Mina was being secretive. Sworn to secrecy, Kyoka answered. I asked Eri to not say anything either. Eri nodded. She bribed me with candy. Izuku looked at Kyoka. Please tell me you didn't give my 6-year-old candy right at curfew. Your 6-year-old, Kyoka repeated his words. Wow, you really have become a dad. You're gonna tell everyone, aren't you? Izuku asked. You say that like they don't already think the same. Kyoka smirked. Izuku held a blank look. I don't know what response to give. She learned the beginning of how to play the drums. Kyoka went with a subject change. I know what a symbol is. Eri smiled. That's cool. Izuku grinned. I think you should thank the super awesome music lady for the lessons. Thanks super awesome music. Lady Gyro-eri had a big smile that was infectious to both Izuku and Kyoka. See you, Izuku. Kyoka waved as Izuku and Eri left. See you tomorrow, Kyoka. Izuku waved. Bye, music. Lady Gyro-eri waved. Okay, so how much candy did you eat? Izuku looked at Eri. Music. Lady Gyro said that I was going to get it tomorrow. Eri admitted. Are you taking my candy? Izuku shook his head. I don't like that you got bribed with candy, but I guess you can keep it since you haven't broken the bribe. But don't take bribes anymore. Eri nodded. Okay. Izuku opened the door to his room. Tomorrow I have to go to a thing. The thing Momo was talking about, Eri asked as she sat at Izuku's desk, in her favorite spinning chair. She mentioned it, Izuku asked. She told me that she wouldn't be able to play tomorrow because she had to go home for a thing. Eri spun in the seat. Yep. Izuku nodded. I'm taking her to it. So you can't play tomorrow? Eri asked, looking upset about that. I can play in the morning. Izuku plopped onto his bed. Why not now? Eri asked. It's almost time for you to sleep, Eri. Izuku yawned. I'm not tired, Eri stated. How Izuku was wondering how he, someone with loads of energy, was tired but a 6-year-old wasn't. I don't know. Eri spun the chair again. Izuku sighed. Wanna see if Katsuki wants to play with you while I get some sleep? Okay. Eri nodded as they both left for the commons. Katsuki was thankfully still in the commons, as was everyone who was still playing cards, as well as Kyoka now. Hey guys. Izuku made his entrance to the commons known. Sup boss, Ijiro said as he put a card down. Go again. Hanta dropped a reverse on Ijiro. No you. Ijiro dropped another reverse. Hanta smirked as he dropped another reverse card. No you. Ijiro lost his smug look and looked annoyed as he had to grab more cards, no longer having that color. Can you play with Eri while I sleep? Dynamite, Izuku asked Katsuki, who was on his gaming system now. Sure. Little Horn wanna learn how to play this? Katsuki held up the remote. Eri got excited and climbed up the couch to join Katsuki. She'll be fine, Glowstick. Katsuki said. Go sleep. Izuku gave a thumbs up as he left to go back upstairs. Izuku was in a destroyed city again. It was destroyed like before and fire was everywhere, much more fire than before. He could hear things now and it sounded like an all-out war was happening. Izuku fell to his knees when his started to burn with intensity. After a few seconds it wasn't as bad and he could now stand back up. He could see the center of what was a crater and 2 figures standing across from each other. One was surrounded by fire and darkness. The other was surrounded by a mixture of golden and black light with purple. This is where I will destroy you, damned saints, the figure in the flames yelled with force. This is where I put an end to your terror, the glowing figure said as weapons appeared in his hands, a sword of fire and a golden shield. The 2 figures clashed and Izuku's burned much hotter than before. Izuku screamed as he jumped up again covered in cold sweat. It was a dream, he should know that. But why did it all feel so real? Why did his hurt every time? He looked out the window to see it was still dark out. He should go back to sleep, but he didn't know if he could. Would he have another weird dream? Izuku shook his shoulders as he laid back down, hoping he would find the meaning of these dreams. Chisaki had more intense focus than he had given to many things in his life. That medallion he was given was definitely powerful. Whatever power it had was something he couldn't believe was now in him. He looked at the charred hole he had just made in the wall and grinned. If what that masked man said to him was true, then there are others out there with similar powers that oppose him and the alliance he had just made. Perhaps he can design a drug to rid their adversaries of their powers. Izuku was nervous as an understatement. Today was the day he would tell Momo exactly how he felt about her. How amazing was and how hot it was that she could make a gun out of thin air. For any J in Izuku's line, that was pretty much the hottest thing a girl could ever do. He tried to fix the bow tie again, but Izuku really couldn't do it at all. He sighed before he left the room and wedged to the room 2 rooms away from his, Aoyama's. Knocking on the door, he waited for a minute before he remembered that Aoyama had left the night before. Aw damn, Izuku sighed as he went to the door in between his and Aoyama's room, Shoto's room. Knocking in the door, he waited a few seconds before the fire and ice user opened the door. Hello Midoriya. Shoto greeted him. What do you need? Please tell me you can tie a bow tie, Izuku said as he pointed to the poorly tied cloth around his neck. Shoto blinked, not expecting that. I do. Give me 1 second, Shoto said as he grabbed the bow tie. He began to tie it correctly. Do you 2 know when you'll be back? I didn't actually think to ask, Izuku admitted, kinda too busy preoccupied with other things. Like admitting your affection for Yaoyorozu, Shoto asked. When did you get involved in emotional stuff? Izuku asked. Spending time here kinda makes that happen to all of us, Shoto said. Plus Ashido was saying something about it last night. Figures she would. Izuku sighed. If you're nervous about it, I think you shouldn't be. You both obviously like each other and nothing negative would come of it. Shoto finished with tying the bow tie. You know, after this I should help you get a romantic partner. Izuku made a smirk. Shoto shook his head. No, I only talk in Northern Osing to 2 girls in this class as it is, and one of them is Ashido. Well, who's the other? Izuku asked, even though he knew it was the frog girl of the class. Hisui, Shoto answered. Why not ask her on a date? Izuku figured he could get that rolling for Tsuyu since he did say he would. I doubt she would want a date with the guy who has father issues he is working through, even if I were at a place of readiness to have a relationship. The white and red-haired boy replied. That's fair reasoning. The leading saint nodded. Well, if you want to talk about girls, I would say talk to me, but I apparently don't know what I am doing. I'll talk to Nito or Kirishima. They are the only guys here in relationships. True. Izuku exhaled. I'm still nervous as you beat a thing meant to kill All Might into the ground. You run a group of the possibly most powerful people in our generation. Your monotone voice is good for motivational speaking, surprisingly. Perhaps because what I am saying is factual and the monotone supports that. You're gonna use that a lot, aren't you? If it calms you down like this, then perhaps. Izuku smirked as they both left the room. Can't argue with that. I'm dumb, so as many people as possible being there to use sense and such is smart. You call yourself dumb, but you built a weapon and are in the most prestigious school in the country in the top course and have one of the highest scores. I lack common sense then. That is plausible. Aw, thanks. They both entered the commons and only 4 other people were down there. Ochako, Hanta, Iri, and Katsuki. Well, that's a good suit, Hanta remarked as he saw the purple-clad leader of the class. Trying to do something today? Ochako raised an eyebrow and smiled. Not something, someone. Hanta grinned. I don't like what you are insinuating. Izuku said. This suit is for business. Are you really taking your necklace and sunglasses? Katsuki asked. I can tuck the necklace in and the shades are non-negotiable, Izuku stated. When will you be back? Iri asked. No clue, but it will be tonight. Izuku smiled at the girl for reassurance. Who's in charge while you are gone? Hanta asked. Nito. Izuku didn't hesitate to answer. He is responsible, saying that like some of us aren't. Hanta replied. I caused a power outage, broke down that door, accidentally got 3 of us faded as all hell, all in the past week. The leading saint replied. That sounds like a fun time. Ochako joked. The power outage was fun. The tape-elbowed teenager nodded. We should do that again. No, Katsuki whacked Hanta over the head. We have to stop being stupid. Feel like we kinda just nosedived into the stupid side of that, and it is unavoidable at this point. You know, it bothers me sometimes that we are kinda stupid, but also probably the strongest of our generation because of the saints, Katsuki stated. That's the thrill of being a saint. The leading saint chuckled. Try to actually get somewhere in your relationship for once. Hey, I don't question your relationship status, because I don't have one. Let's set Katsuki up with the kitchen. Hanta laughed. Or a anger management class. Ochako giggled. I'll find a pot to throw at you too, the explosive teen replied. Suddenly a sound of something hard hitting the ground by the stairs made everyone look and see Mina, looking like she just threw a chair to get their attention. Hello, the pink girl said with excitement. We spent many hard working hours to make this happen. She pointed up the stairs to show Momo walking down, looking absolutely stunning. Momo's hair had been taken out of her usual spiky ponytail and was cascading down over her left shoulder. She had put on an elegant crimson-red dress that would definitely make people look twice with matching heels, and she had her signature morning star pendant hanging around her neck. She had light makeup on that accented her onyx eyes that had a red ring around the irises. Izuku was the first one to say anything. Hell, you're beautiful. It dawned on the teen after he spoke exactly what he said, turning red from embarrassment. Momo had also turned red from his comment. I told you, Mina clapped gleefully. She doubted my skills. I only said you were trying to do too much. Nonsense. You two should get going. Shoto decided to save the two from Mina saying anything more to be well Mina. For sure. Izuku nodded, his face now back to its regular color. He patted Iri on the head. We'll be back tonight for sure. Bye. Iri waved. Bye guys. Momo waved to them as the two began to leave. Izuku opened the door to the commons and motioned for Momo to go first. Ladies first. Why aren't you going? That's rude, ma'am. For one, I am a man. Secondly, I am your bodyguard for the night. Is that a black licorice in your ear? The girl looked at Izuku's ear. No, that's my earpiece as a bodyguard. That's a black licorice. No, it's an earpiece. The piece of black licorice fell out of Izuku's ear at that moment, hitting the ground because Izuku didn't bother to catch it. Okay, it was black licorice. You're an idiot. Momo laughed. Well, I am the idiot who is your bodyguard. What does that say about you? I'm being guarded by an idiot. Wait, Izuku didn't think of that option when he first asked the question. You know I will cry. I am not above it. You cried over a chicken you killed with Nito a few weeks ago. Momo remembered the story Kyoka told her about the chicken Izuku dropped from a rooftop to see if it would fly. William was a great man chicken, Izuku defended. You killed him. That was gravity. Izuku continued to defend himself as they exited UA's campus. Izuku, you dropped a chicken from a rooftop. The girl gave him a flat look. His name was William, the Saints leader stated. Doesn't change that you dropped William. William got killed by gravity. I will avenge him. How? Momo gave Izuku a dumb look. You can't fight gravity. When you are stupid you can do anything, the Halo user declared like it was a proverb. Momo ignored that statement to point to the limo her parents sent to transport the two. Soon the two were at Momo's estate, a few groundskeepers tending to the yard. Miss Yaoyorozu, a servant, greeted the two kids. Master and Mistress Yaoyorozu are expecting you in the parlor. Thank you. The teen nodded as she made her way through the large estate, Izuku following. Upon getting to the parlor, the two parents of Momo were found talking together by a window overlooking their extravagant garden, the adults turning when they saw the two teens. Both adults were dressed lavishly in black with dark red trimmings. Miss Yaoyorozu having an elegant dress that was black with red circling the ends of her dress and the one sleeve it had over her left arm. Mr. Yaoyorozu having a black tuxedo with a red shirt under his coat. Hello Momo. The ride was well, her mother asked, gaining a nod from her daughter. How has my sweet pea been? Mr. Yaoyorozu had a large smile. I have been well. Splendid. How about you Midoriya, my boy? The man turned to the teen next to his daughter. I got banned from an event at school and then unbanned, Izuku replied. I was the same way in my youth. The man gave a hearty laugh. Did you start a gambling ring at your high school like me? He was curious if he and Izuku had more parallels. No, but now that you— Before Izuku could continue, Momo covered his mouth with her hands. No gambling, the girl said flatly. Buzzkill, Izuku grumbled as the girl removed her hands from his face. Same for you, dear. Miss Yaoyorozu suddenly having a darker edge tone of Momo's tone she had just used. Of course, Mr. Yaoyorozu nodded hard. I don't gamble anymore. Wonderful. The matriarch had an instant smile. She turned back to the two teens. Guests will start appearing in an hour. I am glad you are both presentable. Izuku felt that the second part was aimed at just him. It wasn't really as questionable when the woman did say he comes off as a hoodlum last time they saw each other. I would like to have a private talk with my daughter. I can show Midoriya around, Mr. Yaoyorozu said as he patted Izuku's shoulder. Oh cool. Izuku went along with it. See you, Izuku. Momo waved as Izuku was led out by the patriarch Yaoyorozu. Tell me Midoriya, the man said as he was guiding the boy through the main hall. What was your emotions upon seeing my daughter at USJ? He was actually curious. Bro, hear it from Izuku personally. Right before my transformation. Yes, I just want to hear more about it. I admit your transformation is something of interest. I was thinking. Izuku paused to try to gather every thought he had felt at USJ in the moment he thought Momo was dead. That I failed. That I was useless and too worthless to protect a friend. It made me mad at myself so much that my transformation happened and all of my anger was targeted at Momo. You are a good kid, Mr. Yaoyorozu stated. I believe that those words your father said are completely off. What? Izuku got confused. How did this guy know about his poor relationship with his own father? Only Nezu, his mom, and the saints should know about that. Midoriya, the syndicate is very resourceful. I know your father is Spitfire. The man seemed to grow a said frown. The stuff me and my wife learned were not good. That man is a good example of someone who deserves a good beating. How? Syndicate, the man answered. My wife wanted to out this man for his abusive nature to a mere child, but I asked her to wait till after I had a talk with you. Why? Izuku looked at the man in confusion. I wanted to see if you have that same problem I did. I see it in your eyes, son. You feel that outing him as the abusive person he is isn't what would be the most rewarding thing you could do. You want to desperately prove that he was wrong, that you aren't worthless. You want to win his approval deep down despite what he has done should make his opinion not matter anymore. I was like that with my parents, the man stated. Izuku was listening intently because he knew everything the man was saying was true. Part of him felt a need to get his father's approval despite how much the rest of him feared his father or hated the man to his core. Wait, your parents? The teen asked. I wasn't born in this life of luxury like my beautiful wife. I was born to poor parents who didn't want a child and never bothered to be parents. They didn't care for anything I did at all. I wanted just one thing I did to make them say that they were proud of me, but nothing came of it. They were not good people, and it took me years to understand that constantly wanting their approval was unhealthy. After that, I decided to find something that actually matters to fill that find of self-worth. What helps? The teen was curious. Well, I met this charming woman who scared the bejesus out of me. The man laughed. She saw what she wanted in life and took it. She decided she wanted me. That was the only point of approval that mattered to me after that, and I can say that Kurenai is the best thing that has ever happened to me. Miss Yaoyorozu. Yep, she was that help for me. He tapped his fingers on Izuku's shoulder. Forget about your father's approval, Midoriya. He is honestly S in my opinion. If you need approval, I suggest look to those that already give it. Seeking approval where it isn't will only make you hurt yourself. The man spoke from experience. Did your parents ever apologize? No, I haven't talked to them in years. I don't even know for sure if they can even remember the fact that they had a son. But aren't you Yaoyorozu, the CEO of the syndicate? I am originally named Jin Shiraishi. I took Kurenai's last name because it is a better name than mine. That one only has pain with it. I don't know if I can just forget that. Izuku admitted. It was tough. It took me until my 20s to truly realize and get past my family issues. Don't try to rush yourself believing that because you can think you are over it that you truly are. It takes time. I do suggest, however, that you should expose your father for what he did. I doubt it was just him that has that mindset, and this could be a way to get attention on others that think like that. It could help others who get out in situations like you were. Izuku nodded. I will think about it. You'll do the right thing. The man gained a more cheerful mood and patted Izuku's shoulder again. I can tell you have a good heart. I kind of have a demonic transformation. The Halo user pointed out. Yes, but you use that to avenge my cupcake. That's some good actions right there. Remember to just make sure that they are who they appear to be. A woman said to the girl in front of her, a teen with bluish lavender hair and eyes. I understand. We will not engage at all yet. Do not let slip your purpose nor your true identity. Make sure that it is true that he is in fact the type of saint that is the enemy. A little bit later, Izuku and Momo were at a table talking while Momo's parents both went about mingling with the arrivals to the event. So what did my father say? Momo was curious, especially since Izuku looked a little hard-pressed. We just talked about life. Really, Momo asked. I figured he was asking about your father. She wasn't sure if it could be mentioned yet around Izuku. Did your mom ask you about it? Izuku wouldn't be surprised if Miss Yaoyorozu did ask Momo about it. After a bit she did. Momo admitted. She asked about my health since returning to UA. And then you. She said it took a lot of willpower and father to not just go after your father. Her mother really had an intense hate for Izuku's father after she found out what happened between Izuku and him years ago. It also made the woman gain a newer image of Izuku. Your dad did say that. Mother doesn't get that mad over many things. She still believes that she should just use every resource of the syndicate to go after him. I kinda wanna see that, Izuku stated. However, I think I want to just drop it. I don't want to act like it never happened, but I want to just stop letting it affect me. Let's practice that here, Momo offered. Oh yes, extravagant party and rich people. Izuku looked around the large room that had been filling with more people who had dealings with the syndicate. Perfect place to forget my troubles by hustling some money from suckers. The creation user fed his cheek. No, not here, Izuku. You really take the fun out of hustling. Izuku, this is a major event for my parents. Can't really have you here being, well, you. I take offense. Izuku, you know what I mean. Offense. Izuku, offense. I'll F you. And no cry. I'm not above it. You'll because I'm too strong for you to handle. Hey, I survived having my finger ripped off. You don't even remember that. Says who? You literally said you don't remember anything from your first transformation into that state. I need evidence. Your word is the evidence. Your face is the evidence. Your face is evidence of your dumbness. Rude. Izuku very lightly smacked Momo's head. You started it. Well, you were rude. You are a bad bodyguard. How dare you insult my bodyguarding? Izuku poked her arm. You just smacked me. Momo responded as she poked his arm back. That didn't hurt. Yea, because you are weak. Ma'am, I'll have you know I once lifted a sheet of paper. I work out hard. I don't think a piece of paper counts as working out. You haven't seen the piece of paper yet. Momo actually snorted from laughter at that point. You're a dork. No, I'm a cool bodyguard. You're a dork. I will cry under this harassment. Bodyguards don't cry. Never said I was a good bodyguard. Izuku, you have implied it multiple times. I never said it explicitly. I'm getting a new bodyguard. Momo gave Izuku a playful look. You can't replace me. Watch me. I'm Union. Not getting rid of me that easily. Well dang. Momo had a grin. A teen approached the two. It was a girl their age with bluish lavender hair and similar colored eyes. She had on a pale blue dress and a dark lavender scarf. Hello, I am Seiko Intelli. Momo nodded. Hello, I heard out parents might be doing business soon. The girl nodded in response. They are discussing the details right now. What's the business? Izuku asked. Seiko seemed like it irritated her that Izuku didn't just automatically know her family business from her name. However, she didn't let it get to her too much. Intel Works, a research organization. Oh, I think you guys actually had some of the tech that was used on me. Izuku remembered saying that name when David Shield was researching Izuku. Oh, that surprised Seiko. Was there research on you for what? My quirk acted weird. The Halo user explained. They tried to find out what happened. Seiko nodded. Glad to be of assistance. Yay, thanks for making sure I didn't die. Another teen showed up, a girl with long gray hair and white eyes. She had a simple white dress and wasn't even casting a glance at Izuku and Momo, only looking at Seiko. Your mother would like a word, Miss Intelli. Seiko nodded. Of course. She looked at Izuku and Momo. It was a pleasure to meet you. She had a lingering look on Izuku before she left, something that irked Momo. The other girl left with Seiko. She seems okay, Izuku stated. I don't like her, Momo replied. Why? She seemed okay. I don't know. Something just feels off about her. Momo knew part of it was her being territorial about Izuku, but something definitely felt off about that Seiko. She could be vegan. Izuku joked, making Momo laugh. Hello. Another person their age introduced himself. A pale blue-skinned teen that had visible gills and shark-like features, as well as dark blue hair and eyes. His suit was dark and had a blue bow tie. I am Kasama Konomi. He held out his hand to Momo. Hello, Momo Yaoyorozu. The creation user introduced herself, not liking the look that Kasama had. Would you care to dance, he asked, motioning to the large area where music was playing from a small aura. Momo looked at Izuku. Does my bodyguard have a problem with this? Izuku looked at Kasama. Yeah, blue is no good. Izuku, your hands have blue lines on them. The creation user pointed out the blue effects of his mold ability. A simple no was fine. Kasama seemed annoyed and left. He really can't take a no. I didn't like that look he gave me. Well, as your bodyguard, I'll make sure no guy looks at you like that. Thank you. Momo was really glad Izuku was there. I think I owe you a dance for that. Didn't you have to be here to do stuff? Izuku asked, feeling embarrassed about his still lackluster dance ability. Mother and father will most likely start taking me around with the higher investors and staff of She Syndicate later. They want me to be as ready as possible when I take over the syndicate. You got some serious power in life, the leading saint commented, heir to the syndicate and one of the right hands of the leader of the saints. Well, obviously, one of us has to actually be somewhere in life. Momo joked. Hello, darling. Momo's mother was there. It's time. We would like to introduce you to some of the board. I'll be back, Izuku. Momo gave him a reassuring smile and got up to follow her mother. When I come back, you owe me a dance. Since when did I owe you a dance? Mountain Zone at USJ. I win the bet, so I cash it in as a dance. Momo had a playful smile. I want to see if the powerful saint can dance as well as he runs his mouth. You might be surprised. I hope to be. Momo's smile got bigger as she left. Izuku was left alone now, and the words Momo said got in his head. One of us has to actually be somewhere in life. What was Izuku doing compared to Momo? He was leading a group of teens that he honestly felt he might be a bit in over his head doing. Momo was the heir to one of the most powerful corporations in the world and so sure of herself. It made his insecurities begin to surface more. What was he even doing here? He was an impulsive, troublemaking teen at a rich people event. What was Momo even doing around him? She was sophisticated and elegant, from a powerful family with a powerful quirk. He was a quirkless guy who came from one abusive parent, and he spent half of his time doing insignificant jokes just to amuse himself. For S sake, he threw a chicken off of a building at one point. What was he doing somewhere like this? He didn't belong here at all. Izuku stood up and almost considered just up and leaving altogether, but decided against it in favor of just stepping out to the large patio overlooking the garden to just take a breath. It was beginning to get darker outside, and the section of the balcony he took to was bare of people besides him. He leaned in the balcony and forced all of the thoughts from his head. Why was he letting himself get in his own head like that? He couldn't just boil himself down to some punk kid who likes trouble. He was Izuku Midoriya, the guy who went to hell, and back in a day he broke a 30-year record at one of the hardest hero schools to ever get into. And by a large ass gap, he literally destroyed a being created to kill the strongest hero in the world. How could he just forget that and shoot himself down so bad? He is a saint. Saints don't wallow in the mud. Hello, Midoriya. The voice of Seiko got his attention and he turned to the girl. Hello, Intelli. Izuku replied. May I ask what research was done on you? I wasn't aware of research being done on someone my age. Oh, it was just my quirk. The thing decided to act weird after this one event at school. Everything is all good now. What acted odd? My quirk is energy-based. The energy decided to not flow right and such. He was beginning to wonder why this girl was so curious about his quirk. Sure, he got researched by a lab that had some equipment from her family company, but still, especially with that studying look she had. My quirk is energy-based too. However, it doesn't make me have such fascinating glowing lines on me. Seiko meant the halo veins Izuku had. What does your quirk do? Seiko ignored this question by giving another question. That is an intriguing necklace you have. Does it have a meaning? Izuku hadn't been realized his necklace was on the outside of his jacket until that point. He must have pulled it out while he was panicking. Oh, it's just a gift from my grandpa. He says it is the sign of loyalty and strength. In Johnny's words, it was actually loyalty and badassery, but same thing. Are you that guy from UA? The one from that attack last week? Was that why she was so curious about him? She recognized him from the news. I am from UA. But I wasn't the only one there. The one who had to be taken by a hazmat team. Seiko responded. Oh yeah, that was me. That's when my quirk acted up. It was shocking to see that villains had attacked in such a manner. Yeah, but my class was tough. They all stood their ground and showed the villains what's what. You have respect for your classmates. Well, yeah, those guys got strength. I would say you do too if you can be walking around at an event like this just a week after the state you were in. Saints are built different. Izuku shrugged. Seiko had a grin she had managed to hide so it was unnoticed by Izuku. She got to what she was there for. Saints, not the religious type. It's a group my family has a lot to do with. I have never heard of them. Yeah, the Saints kind of went down for a bit, but I'm getting them going again. What does the group do? As I have it now, I guess we are just a group of heroes. You already have members. Yeah, 20 of us. That's a good number. It is quantity and quality. Another voice got their attention. There you are, Seiko. Izuku turned to see a middle-aged woman with dirty blonde hair and a ponytail, two bangs framing her face. She had a gray business suit and skirt, a pair of black oval-like glasses over her sea-green eyes. Hello, mother, Seiko stated, letting Izuku know this is her mother. Who is this young man? The woman asked while she sent an unnoticed split-second glance at Izuku's necklace, a symbol of a group she did not like at all. Hello, I am Izuku Midoriya. Oh, the son of Hisashi, the woman said, noticing the slight look of anger that Izuku got. She made note of that. She was fully aware of who Izuku was, the abandoned son of Spitfire, as well as the descendant of the sociopath Johnny Gat. He is not my dad, Izuku replied. That man might be his father, but there was no way he deserved to be his dad. Just a coincidence, I apologize, the woman said. I am Miss Intelli. She made sure to not use her real name in case this boy knew the history of his group. While in the end of the timeline, before the reverse, she might not have been an enemy of the Saints, she was now, especially with her husband back, who was currently working on their project on the other side of the planet. Izuku found it odd that the woman didn't use her first name, but went with it. Hello, Midoriya. Momo's father showed up at that point. We'll take our leave of you, the older Intelli said as the two left. Hello, Mr. Yaoyorozu, Izuku said to the man. Call me Jin. The man waved off the first title. Feels weird though. Whatever works for you, Midoriya. The man shrugged. Some of our board is actually interested in seeing the boy from USJ who managed to scare the criminals into submission. How do they know it was me? The Halo user asked. Well, I might have bragged about Momo here after she was safe from USJ. Then I bragged about her classmates, Jin explained, especially a teen whose presence scared grown men. Nice, Izuku grinned. I have a reputation. Let's go. The man began to walk back inside, the teen following. Izuku actually began to enjoy the party after a bit. Some of the board members from the syndicate were very interested in what happened at USJ. Izuku told them about everything, except the stuff he couldn't really say, like the Halo. They liked his telling of his ability to just chat with other kids while in a bad situation. All three kids having no difficulty with the mountain at USJ. They all were definitely amazed by his count of the Namu and how all of the students worked well to take it down as best they could. He had to rely on Jin for a bit about what happened during his Saints Demon's transformation because he didn't have the proper details. The adults all thought Izuku always a definite hero in the making to look out for, and some even offered sponsorships or asked for him to turn to them for his gear needs. It was a nice moment for Izuku. It's showing that he could fit in with people of a higher social status, a growing worry he had around Momo. He was beginning to think he had nothing to worry about. Midoriya, my boy, that was a fantastic telling. A man named Rusev Petro, a Russian man of elderly age, said, truly remarkable stuff for a young man like yourself to accomplish. Indeed, it reminds me of my days in Spain. Another man, Izuku believed his name was Ruiz, said, granted I was a few years older when I had my first moments as a hero. By the time you reach where I was, I believe you will already be a high-standing lad in the charts. I kind of stopped caring about the charts, Izuku admitted. Like, I want to be a hero, but to me my goal is to be the best leader of my group as I can be. Being the #1 hero of my generation, if I do go for it, will be a side mission. Jin nodded. No doubt you will do both, my boy. You are a capable young man. Speaking of the charts, have you guys heard of what happened in Moscow just yesterday with the #2 hero there, Terraform? Rusev looked to his fellow board members. He was actually loosely related to Terraform because Big, his wife. Horrible stuff. An American board member shook his head. I feel for his family. They say the monster is somewhere in Moscow still. So many search parties are there locking the city down. Rusev said. Did they? Gentlemen, I must excuse Midoriya from us if we are going to discuss such matters, Jin said as he looked to Izuku. Okay. Izuku nodded and walked away, wondering what was bad happening in Moscow. Izuku actually didn't know what to do now. Momo was nowhere to be seen, as was her mother. Jin was talking about something serious in Moscow that he couldn't participate in. That actually was everyone he would want to talk to at the event. He decided to just find his way back to his seat and just chill. On the way to his seat, however, he passed by a group of people his age who got his attention. Hey, nice shades, man, a guy said. The guy had spiky pink hair and his eyes were also just pink. No white sclera or anything. His eyes were just pure bright pink orbs. Why, thank you. Izuku stopped walking to say that. You're from the news, another teen said. This guy looked kind of plain. He had short brown hair and brown eyes. Only thing that was not plain looking about him were his enlarged upper canines that weren't contained by his mouth being closed. Yue, right, yep. Izuku nodded. Surprised you are up this soon after that, the pink-haired guy said. Shiksu would definitely not have let us just up and get ourselves into trouble like you did earlier this week. The guy must have been one of the people to put 2 and 2 together and realize, but was Izuku in that event when Izuku rescued her? That was coincidental, Izuku stated. Does Yue just let that happen? Nah, I got yelled at pretty good, Izuku admitted. Hey, so what is the deal with that girl? Izuku saw that it was that shark-like teen Kasama. He must have been talking about Momo. What do you mean, what is the deal with her? Izuku felt like he was going to get mad in a second. Like, are you two a thing, or is she good to go because she can get it? Yeah, Izuku was going to get mad. I doubt she would want it from you. She looks like she'd want it from any. Kasama didn't get to finish that sentence when Izuku slammed a left hook right into the shark-like teen's nose, actually breaking it and sending the teen toppling over a table behind him. No one was seated at the table luckily when Kasama hit the table and it fell to its side under the sudden impact. The action got everyone in the large room looking in that direction to see Izuku angrily looking at Kasama, and the other teens taking a step back, noticing a black fluid in Izuku's veins. Midoriya Jin was the first to react. He quickly left his group to make sure Izuku wouldn't attack the other teen anymore. Izuku realized he just attacked a kid of one of the people that the hosts are supposed to be doing business with. That most definitely might have thrown a wrench into things for that particular business deal. Sorry, Izuku said to Jin as he left, going back outside. Neato man. Minoru came down the stairs holding Izuku's Ouija board. I know we shouldn't touch this thing, but it's going insane. I could hear it through the ceiling. It's doing what? Neato looked up from Kyoka's music sheets. Is that a board gamer? He has never seen the board before. It's a Ouija board, Kyoka said. A rude one. What is it saying? The one for all, user asked, and Minoru set it on the table. It keeps asking for the boss, Minoru said, and calling me rude names. Neato looked at the board. What do you need? The board staring to move on its own. Where is the halo bearer? Not here, Neato replied. Is this important, or do you just want to insult him again? Emergency. What emergency? Neato got confused. The halo only said a few more words before it stopped moving completely. Beware the demon. Izuku muttered some curses as he sat on the edge one of the small fountains in the garden. He can't believe he just up and punched that, causing a scene. Did he really have to resort to getting that pissed that in quick? The thoughts from before about his lack of belief of himself belonging there began to resurface. Izuku, Momo said as she walked around one of the corners of the hedge maze. She knew he was out there and wanted to make sure he was okay. She had seen the black liquid and knew something that Shark Teen said must have pissed Izuku off. Izuku, are you okay? I didn't get punched. Izuku was looking at the ground, all of his negative thoughts swimming around his head. They finally spilled out at that moment. Why do you even like me? The question caught Momo off guard. What? Why do you even like me? Izuku's voice had raised. I'm not worth it. Izuku, why would you think that? I just punched a guy. Izuku had stood up and faced Momo. He said literally one comment about you and I had so little self-control that I punched him into a table. He was a jerk. Momo didn't even know what it was the Shark Teen said. You're not worthless. How do I even fit in here? Everyone here is a wealthy person or someone who matters, and I am just a kid whose father left him to die in an alley. Izuku was beginning to tear up. Why do you like me? You're literally a modern-day princess and I'm alley trash. Momo didn't say anything for a second. This hit her out of nowhere. She never expected Izuku to just implode from his problems. She knew he had them, but he always was so carefree. She didn't expect him to have such a low picture of himself deep down. Izuku, you're not alley trash. What else do you call a kid who was left to die in an alley? Izuku argued. Alley tra. Momo wasn't proud exactly of her reaction to his words and her idea of getting him to stop by slapping him across the face. Izuku did stop talking, however, because it surprised and hell out of him that she slapped him. Izuku, Midoriya. Momo had a stern tone as she kept her crimson and onyx eyes on Izuku's own emerald and crimson eyes. You are not alley trash. You are the most talented guy I have ever met, and you are worth way too much as a person to even compare yourself to anything from an alley. I have never met someone who is smart enough to build their own weapon at the age of 15 that outshines modern-day technology, and still be childish enough to make a masturbation joke while fighting a supervillain. You can't keep measuring yourself by what happened between you and your father. You were just a kid, and he clearly doesn't know shit from shine if he thought for a second that you had no potential whatsoever. Stop holding yourself by his standards and hold yourself by your own standards. Or any one of the people who joined a group that has a backstory that sounds too bizarre to be true because they all clearly see that potential that you have. You are a great person, who is probably the greatest hero of our generation. By the point that Izuku was crying still but happily. All of Izuku's self-hatred and insecurities in that moment just washed away, and he hugged Momo tightly. Why are you so great? I love you, stupid. Momo did something she had been wanting to do for a while and ate Izuku on the lips. The action caught Izuku off guard, but not even a second later he returned it. In that moment, Izuku was the happiest he had ever been in his life, and gold liquid filled his halo veins completely, before his body gave off a golden light.